Hey y'all. So today in Pussy Church, we are going to be doing a spring clean on the inner feminine. Last week we did one on the inner masculine, and the intention behind this is that you can have the inner feminine spring clean container to come back to as needed, or you can go to the inner masculine one as needed, bringing more balance to yourself inside, which then makes it easier for you to like be in your pleasure and your turn on, magnetic, calling in that which you desire. Um, and yeah, just bringing healing and harmony within yourself, within the polarities within yourself. So, a couple housekeeping things to go over with spring cleaning. Spring cleaning is a technique that I learned in Mama Gena's School of Womanly Arts that is used to basically clean out the mental, emotional bodies of a person through the power of acknowledgement and being witnessed in that acknowledgement because we are wired for connection, right? And some people don't really have spaces to go to spring clean or safe spaces to go. So the purpose of these spring cleans on this channel are to create a container that can be repeatedly used for you to utilize in your self-healing expansive journey that you are in. um, when spring cleaning, it's always going to be done with a timer. You never want to spring clean longer than 15 minutes. I find that the magic like spring cleaning time seems to be anywhere from like 3 to 7 minutes. Not saying you can't do like 2 minutes because I do those all the time too, but when spring cleaning with another person, it just seems to be like a good spot, like anywhere from 3 to 7. And with the spring clean, if ever you're doing this and it's not here on the channel and you take what you've learned from the channel outward to go work with a person in person, it is always confidential, so make sure you guys get on the same page and understand that like whatever happens in the container stays in the container. And that anything you're cleaning on, just like when the garbage man takes your trash away, they don't bring it back. So if you say something and the other person maybe has a little bit of a trigger to it and they're like, oh, like, well, I was thinking about your spring clean and I think maybe like this would be a better way to like reframe what you said or something. That is not what happens in a spring clean. Like the cleans are to get out the nitty gritty so you can actualize and move out that stuff that's probably been suppressed because we've all been taught to stuff our feelings, push our feelings, suppress our feelings. Feelings are bad, right? And so it's to be in a safe space to get your feelings out, really, in a judgment free zone and feeling safe in that and getting it out, which then helps the mental, emotional bodies empty out all kinds of tension, which then has the trickle effect of emptying out tension in the physical body, which then also makes you an attractive point of attraction for the manifestations that you are calling in because now you're not all clouded in your mental, emotional, or your physical, which then makes way for things that you want to come in since you're making way for things that no longer serve you to go out, meaning like things that no longer serve you, like thoughts and emotional like buildup that doesn't serve you anymore, to move out. So that way you can bring in that which brings you more joy and pleasure. In a spring clean, sometimes it is a little bit hard for the subconscious to get into at first. So sometimes you might find when a person's like, thank you, what do you have on your inner feminine, that you kind of draw a blank and don't have anything. And you can be like, I have nothing. Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? I have nothing. Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? I have fear of being bashed by other women. Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? Usually, if you say like the I have nothing once or twice, it clears out that layer of just like drawing a blank, and then the next bit comes out. There's also what can happen is sometimes some of these topics they like um, encompass our whole life, really, right? Like we're born with polarities of the inner feminine and inner masculine, and like I'm 34, so I have plenty that I can spring clean on with either one. Um, and so you might find that you have the same layer, and that's okay too, because things kind of like build up. Just like when you're really cleaning, and like the whole reason we do like a deep clean is because like residue has gotten on the baseboards and it's built up and got mucky. So then we have to go in and clean. And usually when we do deep cleans, we do it like incrementally, project by project. And it's the same thing with spring cleans in the psyche. Things build up in the psyche, and then you have to go incrementally, like part by part in the psyche. So you might have like, for example, thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? I have Rage. Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? I have rage. Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? I have rage that society sold my younger self sold her onto teen magazines and what it is to be airbrushed, which created insecurity in me. Thank you. What do you have on your feminine? So see how like I have rage, and then the next layer was like another bit of that rage, right? Or sometimes it might just go into another emotion completely. Spring cleans can be all over the place. That's normal. It's allowing your mental, emotional bodies to get out what they need to get out. If ever you find that you get stuck on like an I have nothing over and over, it's a good idea to like question yourself, like what would like whatever the last thing was that you said, like I think like I said I have rage. Well, I let's see. So I said I have rage, and then if I were like I have nothing, I have nothing, then I could be like, okay, well, why do I have rage? And usually, if you ask yourself a why, then you're like, oh yeah, 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 and your mind will keep cleaning out, right? Um, and so yeah, and kind of like I don't know if you've seen like little robot vacuums, but like they get stuck in a corner sometimes, and like you got to turn them around. So like sometimes you get stuck in a clean, and you got to like readjust and turn yourself around by having a new point of query or interrogation within yourself, or inquisition within yourself. I feel like it's a softer word. Um, and let's see. At the end, I'll be like, thank you. This is your first of, let's say, 3 pulls, which a pull basically symbolizes to the subconscious that the clean is coming to an end. And so then like it's the last bit to get out. I find sometimes the pulls are where all like the nitty gritty stuff is, which is great that they're getting out. Some people don't feel comfortable talking about their feelings. And so they might go into a clean like I have joy, I have gratitude, and while joy and gratitude is there, if you notice that people keep going into that space, then there's a little bit of bypassing that's going on there, I feel. And so it's good to just try to get into the like unspeakables. Like that's the point of the clean, is to get the unspeakables out, so that way that which you're speaking into existence can make its way to you. And if you're cleaning in this container on YouTube, then like you're obviously not going to be in a judgment zone, because like it's not like in real time. It's a container that's made and created and held for you, and so you'll be being witnessed by myself through ether, and witnessed by your higher power as well. But sometimes when you're spring cleaning with another person, you might be kind of like embarrassed to be like, oh, I have hatred that this bitch did blah blah blah. Like you might feel ugly saying that, and like it's okay to feel ugly saying something. That's the point of getting it out. Better out than in. You have to feel to heal, which when it comes to manifestation, a lot of people are out there teaching like that you gotta like feel really good about what you're calling in. But the thing is, if you have all this suppressed stuff around what you're calling in, then it's like creating a traffic jam in the universe, so things can't quite get to you with as much ease. So you have to feel it, actualize it, move it out. Which sometimes also in a spring clean, you might find you feel really sad or really angry in the middle or after the clean, because you touched on something that hasn't been expressed before, that's been waiting a really long time to get actualized and moved out and acknowledged, because these are all parts of ourselves, right? Like they need like that care and tenderness as well. And so if you find that and that care and tenderness can be as simple as acknowledging something. It's like when you get in trouble, like you want your parent to acknowledge like the good that you were trying to do even though you got in trouble, or like like acknowledgement is powerful, and it can be really nurturing to acknowledge. So yeah, and then if you do get emotional, though, I'll link a video at the end for how to swamp. Swamping is a physical embodiment exercise to somatically release and move feelings out of the body. Spring cleaning is more like mental, emotional release, maybe some physical. I find for myself, it's a lot of mental, emotional release, which just helps me feel more clear. And then I use the swamps to move the ick out of my body. And I try to keep a poker face, and if you're spring cleaning with someone, try to keep a poker face, because sometimes people are really attuned to a person's facial expressions, which comes from a place of like um, disorganized attachment styles, or like attachment styles in general, or trauma. And so they hyper attune to someone's face because they're hyper vigilant. They might not even know they're hyper vigilant. You might not know they're hyper vigilant. So you don't want to do like a smile or like a or anything like that, because that can signal that they're not in a safe space anymore, and then they might not get as much out of their clean as they could had you just had the poker face. And also explaining like the poker face to whoever you're spring cleaning with might be useful as well. um and then you'll always, so spring cleans are like the nitty gritties, and kind of like battery, it has like positive and negative charges. Like you're going to go into all aspects of the charge, especially if it's a layered clean that you're returning to over and over. Like one of my favorite ones to do is surrender. I don't even know how many times I've done spring cleans on surrender, but it's really made way for some magnificent themes. And in the beginning, I find I went into a lot of the like, I hate this about surrender. It's so hard to let go of control, like all the heavy, like, ugh. And then now I find as I do more cleans on surrender, it's more balanced of like where I'm going, and that's normal. I know when my brother was like spring cleaning, like he had a bunch of really heavy charge on the topic he was spring cleaning on, and then after that, like he switched jobs, which he was spring cleaning on his job. After that, he switched jobs, so it was just him needing to get out all that heavy charge. And then all of a sudden, the universe made way for that, which what he was calling in, which was a new job where he got treated better by his employers. And that was like after 3 spring cleans and like getting a bunch of like heavier like emotions out around like anger and rage and like feeling taken for granted and hatred and stuff like that. So this is why they're powerful, because if you get it out, then it makes way for the things. And like he was highly skeptical going into cleans, and then like he, I think, got kind of mad that it worked for him, so now he doesn't spring clean anymore. But I'm glad that at least he switched jobs and got his heavier, more like negative charge out. However, yeah, just go into the clean and try to hit on the heavier and the positive if you can. If you find you're just going on the heavier side of things, that's okay. Maybe starting with the positive is where you need to start to feel comfortable before you edge into the heavier charges. That's okay as well. Um, so when you go into a spring clean, is also you're getting out all this stuff and it's heavy stuff, and so you want to like, so you want to actualize and acknowledge and go into the muck, but then you also want to be able to like pull yourself out and sparkle and shine and be in your turn on going forward, right? You don't want to get caught into the weight of those emotions. So this is also why swamping is useful, because it helps move those emotions out further. So a spring clean will always close with a trinity. And if ever you're doing a spring clean and someone's like, do you want to close with a trinity? And you're like, no, I highly recommend that you just change your mind on that one, because the trinity, some people say no because they're feeling like upset, like they're feeling grief and stuff that came out in the clean. I highly recommend just going ahead and doing the trinity, because you find that as you do the trinity, which is a brag, so something you're celebrating, Mama Gena teaches that women are taught to relate through victimization instead of celebration. So the point of the trinity is to normalize celebrating your wins in life, and to like normalize like celebrating, and then to also take like some of the negative connotation out of bragging, so that way it's more normalized to celebrate, you know, because some people are like, oh my god, they're bragging all the time, how dare they, I like want to be miserable, I don't want to celebrate them. But like really there's nothing wrong with celebrating, so like making bragging like something cool to do. And like when you brag and celebrate and someone's witnessing you, then it creates like that safety for them to brag and be witnessed as well. Like, and then it creates like sisterhood and connection and community, because you're all celebrating your wins instead of being like, oh my god, she's bragging again. It's like, oh my god, she's celebrating, what are my wins, I want to celebrate, or I want to celebrate with her. So it's like, I brag this. And you can have multiple brags, you can have one brag, whatever it is. Just make sure you're bragging and celebrating after a clean. And then your gratitudes, I am grateful for. It doesn't matter how big or small the gratitude is, it's still shifting your resonance, your frequency, pulling you out of the heavier stuff and back into a more juicy, turned on, real time, present moment. And then you'll have your desire, which a desire is what do you want? What are you trying to manifest? And you'll say it as desire, because women are also taught we're not supposed to have desires, right? We're supposed to like tend to the husband, tend to the house, tend to the kids, like receive less pay than like men. Like we're not supposed to have desires, we're not supposed to be ambitious according to patriarchal standards, right? So then like normalizing having desires and having ambition and having that witness in a like safe container, so nobody like deflates you or pokes you because they're not doing the same inner work that you're doing around deconstructing patriarchy and like healing your relationship with yourself. And so yeah, you'll speak your desire. And like physics, they learned in physics that when I think it's when a photon is witnessed, then it makes its way into matter. So the whole reason you're speaking out loud your desire instead of your head, speaking it out loud, um, is the higher powers witnessing you in that speaking. Words also carry a vibration that changes and creates a little ripple effect in reality. I mean, goodness, they've shown in like I think it was quantum physics that the wings of a butterfly like alter like the other side of the universe. Those are such subtle vibrations. So when you speak, there's a vibration. So things are shifting and changing. So you're doing it to be witnessed. You're speaking your desire out loud to be witnessed. Even though I'm not there with you in real time, like I'm still witnessing you through the energetic presence that is woven into this container that is set up for you to be witnessed in. Um, and then in being witnessed, it's also nice because sometimes, especially when it's with another person, sometimes you might not feel like you really believe that what you desire is going to make its way to you. And so it's really helpful to like share your desires with someone you know that is not going to deflate them or naysay them, because that's really, really important. If you know that your desires might get deflated by someone, don't share them with that someone. Um, but it's really important to share with like people that are all for you, like receiving your desires. Because then when you don't believe in yourself, they're holding space for you by believing in the desire coming true. And that's just really magical and beauty. And it's also like sisterhood and camaraderie and like it's like community and connection. I'm part of a group on WhatsApp from like our boot camp where we don't like talk to each other every day, but like us sister goddesses will occasionally post in what we call like pleasure digestion, which is just us digesting the pleasure in our life. And so we'll do like a long thread of I brag, I'm grateful, and I desire. And then usually 1 to like 7 sister goddesses out of like 70 something sister goddesses will like heart, which to me symbolizes that they witnessed or emphasize, or they'll even like upright. And uprighting is where you like further encourage their desire and witness and celebrate their brag. Like you don't relate to their brag, you celebrate them in their brag. Like it's not um like when someone's bragging and you're uprighting, it's not like I bragged that today my husband and I had a really great date night and it just was so juicy and there was so much turn on, like with emotional intimacy that led to physical intimacy. And like so like bragging that and then having someone be like, oh wow, like I bragged that my husband and I had the same experience. Like that's not an upright. Do you want to celebrate the woman who's bragging and be like, oh wow, I love that for you and your husband. That's just so juicy. May you guys ride even higher together through the bonds of emotional intimacy. Like you're celebrating them, you're focusing on them, you're attentive with them. And so yeah. Um, let's see. So yeah, you'll close with the Trinity. You'll speak your desire. No desire is too big or too small. You could do a small desire. Maybe you don't even really know what your desires are. That's okay. Um, However, you'll know as things start to trickle in, you'll know it's not a bad idea to get more specific on desires because they'll come in, they will. And we end with, and so it shall be, or something even better and wetter than your wildest dreams, because like even better and wetter than your wildest dreams is so much better to me than and so it shall be, because and so it shall be can sometimes leave like a little bit of disappointment, like I didn't get what I wanted. But then when your mind is looking for the even better and wetter part, then you're like, wow, like I wanted this and the universe co-created with me and I got this, which is so much better. Like, and so it's a fun way to end. And then you have like little pussy sparkles of light because we're all born, we're all birds, we all come through like the beautiful pussy. And then in this sense, our desires are coming through like great pussy in the sky. And so you want to like make it rain in a sense. So that's what I got on spring cleaning. So yeah, I'm going to lead with a demonstration and show you how I spring clean one-on-one by myself. And you can also spring clean one-on-one by yourself and just take notes of the script. So that way you can practice spring cleaning by yourself. The script is really, really simple. And then you can also, after the demonstration, stay tuned so that way I can hold space for you to spring clean, where I will go through the script and I'll have gaps that I leave open for you to answer. If you need more time to answer, go ahead and pause the video. That said, also, I just remembered when spring cleaning, it's really important that you don't go into a huge story about something. It's really important that you make it bite-sized and digestible, because it more cleanly removes like that emotional mental residue from your bodies. so that you can have more clarity and just feel lighter. And for example, the wrong way to do it would be like, thank you, what do you have on your inner feminine? Oh my God, like my inner feminine has been feeling so neglected and she's scared to show up and she's scared of being bullied and she doesn't even know what creativity is. She thinks she has no creative gifts and like it's just a huge run on and keeps going and going, right? That's the wrong way. The right way would be like, thank you, what do you have on your inner feminine? I wasn't really taught a whole lot about the polarities, and so I feel that I've really neglected my inner feminine. Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? And in neglecting my inner feminine and not being really comfortable in my emotions, which is of the feminine, I find it really hard for me to believe I have creative capabilities. Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? See how like I start to break it down? You want to kind of keep it like a disposable camera where you have so many shots because the timer's going. You have so many shots to get your stuff out, and then the timer's done, the camera's done, and then the container closes. So that's another one. All right, so I'm going to start my demonstration, which is going to be for 3 minutes and 3 pulls. I have the timer. All right, let me get comfy. I like to be comfy during a clean. Always make sure that when you're doing a clean, it's in a environment that you're not going to get interrupted in, because it's an exercise of the mind, the psyche, and so sometimes you can get really on edge if someone walks in the middle of your clean. All right. So, Sister Goddess Poppy, are you ready to begin your spring clean on your inner feminine for a total of 3 minutes and 3 pulls? Yes. Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? I'm starting my timer. I have a fear of being seen as odd and quirky and then being persecuted for my unique flavor. Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? I have been shamed a lot by my biological mother for like having this channel, and sometimes my inner child is scared that she's still watching and I don't feel safe showing up. Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? I don't know why my biological mom is as mean to me as she can be, but it's really discouraging for me to show up in my inner feminine, knowing that somewhere across the United States, she's throwing shade at me through the ether. Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? My biological mom has really prided herself for being a strong woman, but her definition of strong is like the masculine definition of strong. Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? And for the longest time, I wanted her to love me and accept me. So I tried to be strong, but it was like never good enough. And I think it's just because she felt jealous and intimidated by me for some odd reason. Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? My biological mom really taught me that women are not to be trusted, for they can cause me to feel upset and hurt in my heart. Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? My biological mom shamed me for going to the river and sunbathing, because why? I don't know, but she did. And so many people sunbathe, and I don't understand why I'm being shamed for it. Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? I have a lot of insecurity around my body being seen outside of modest clothing. Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? I don't feel safe creating sometimes when I know that the content I create can be quite controversial. Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? I have been healing my inner sister wound this last year, and it's been very insightful and empowering. Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? My inner feminine loves bone broths and naps. Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? For a while, my husband's artistic ego really caused my inner feminine to shrink herself and play small for fear of him abandoning her if she shined too brightly. Thank you. Timer is going on. Thank you. This is your first of 3 polls. What do you have on your inner feminine? I have fear and self-doubt. I don't want to be hurt. Thank you. This is your second poll. What do you have on your inner feminine? I have loneliness and longing for like that true like sisterhood connection that I know is out there that I have not really experienced in my adult life. Thank you. This is your third and final poll. What do you have on your inner feminine? My inner feminine is tired of playing small for fear of men or women coming after her, and she is bit by bit deciding to stand tall and help other women wake up to their beauty and their power and their potential. Thank you. This concludes your spring clean on your inner feminine. It has been an honor and a pleasure holding space for you. Would you like to close with a trinity? Yes, I brag that I allowed my inner feminine to dress me for the spring clean, and she really wanted to wear this pretty little flower shawl. And I brag that my inner feminine has got much more comfortable showing up in lingerie, exposing her body, regardless of what people might project at her. And I brag that I completed a 40-day self-love devotional for my inner feminine and my relationship with the Divine Mother, and that it just really helped me like feel so much more confident and lose so much like weight, like emotional and physical weight, just like taking that time to really love on my inner feminine. And I'm so grateful to see the outer shifts that are going on as I love my inner feminine. I'm so grateful for the wonderful double date that my husband and I experienced yesterday at these beautiful botanic gardens with another couple that we're in the beginning of stages of friendship with. And I'm so grateful for the universe providing so much support for my husband and I as we shift our inner polarities and really anchor into what it is to live in abundance and to surrender and trust the process. And I desire to continue to allow my inner feminine to create free of fear. And I desire to allow my inner feminine to work with my inner masculine so that way we can create and flow while at the same time having structure and completion, so that projects that I'd like to bring into the world can be more fully and wholeheartedly received by those that they are meant to be received by. Well bagged, beautiful gratitudes, and so it shall be, or something even better and wetter than your wildest dreams. So yeah, that is a spring clean one-on-one. As you see, you just start with like the opening words and then go back and forth with yourself. Thank you. What do you have on said topic? And then also you don't want a topic to be too long. I find that about 3 words, 1 to 3 words is like long enough, because since the timer is going, you don't want to like run out of timer time because you're saying, thank you. What do you have on the inner feminine within you? Like that's so much longer, right? And so just kind of playing with words. And also it helps to play with words because since it is the subconscious, it could be like, you could be like, I want to spring clean on my inner feminine. And then the person's like, what do you have on my inner feminine? You're like, wait, that's their inner feminine. I think I want to spring clean on what do you have on your inner feminine. So play with the words a little bit too. Yeah, I think that's it. All right, so now I'm going to set the timer for you. So we have 3 minutes as well. All right, Sister Goddess, are you ready to begin your spring clean on your inner feminine for a total of 3 minutes and 3 pulls? I'm going to hear you say yes. All right, starting timer. Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? Thank you. What do you have on your inner feminine? Thank you. I don't know if you could hear it, but the timer went off. This is your first of three polls. What do you have on your inner feminine? Thank you. This is your second poll. What do you have on your inner feminine? Thank you. This is your third and final poll. What do you have on your inner feminine? Thank you. This concludes your spring clean on your inner feminine. It has been an honor and a pleasure to hold space for you. Would you like to close with the Trinity? And I hear you say yes. What do you brag? What are you celebrating? Oh, brag. So juicy. And what is your gratitude? What is something you are grateful for? Oh, gratitude. And what do you desire? So you'll say, I desire. So it shall be, or something even better and wetter than your wildest dreams. Well done. Awesome. I'm so glad that you were able to experience the container of spring cleaning on your inner feminine. I hope this was useful for you. And If you find that you would like to come back and spring clean on your inner feminine, just fast forward through the video and find the part where we do the spring clean, and then you can utilize it as many times as you need. And feel free to browse the other spring cleaning topics that are on this channel. And yeah, let me know how it goes in the comments. And from my heart to yours, be well. Thank you so much, Sister Goddess.